Episode 2, Voices That Don't Belong. I'm Iris Vant. You're listening to The Hollow Signal. Last episode, I introduced you to a frequency that's something beyond what should exist on the spectrum, something buried in static and memory. I played you a clip from a cassette tape I found in the archives of a long-defunct local station, WMER, in my hometown of Candler's Bend. The voice on that tape didn't match any of the station's former DJs. The strangest part? It changed between playbacks. This week, I returned to those tapes. But first, I want to introduce you to someone I never thought I'd hear from again, Uncle Matt.
If this picks up what I think it will, you'll hear it too, won't you, Irish? You always did listen better than the others.
That was recorded 2 days before he vanished. I'll come back to that tape. But first, something else. A voice that shouldn't exist. After episode 1 aired, I got an email. The subject line said simply, "You heard it too." No name, just coordinates and a timestamp. I checked the map. It was a point deep in the woods, just northeast of an old fire watch tower, long abandoned. I went. Of course I did. I hiked in before dawn, no cell service. I brought a field mic, a parabolic dish, and one of Matt's old shortwave receivers I found in his shed. I set up a loop antenna, waited. At 4:16 a.m., the signal hit. I recorded the whole thing. I haven't altered it. Here's what it sounded like. Headphones recommended.
Beneath the words, we remember.
I took that recording to someone who might be able to help. Dr. Miles Ternan is a professor of auditory perception and semiotics. I reached him at his home office in Olympia. Dr. Ternan, thank you for agreeing to talk.
Of course, though I'll admit what you sent me was rather peculiar, like listening to a number station trying to read poetry.
You mentioned you heard language structure in the signal.
Yes. It's not random. There's syntax, pauses, emphases, but the phonemes aren't any known language. I even ran them through glottal pattern matching. Closest I got, some Proto-Athabascan roots, but not quite.
You said something else in your notes. The voice doesn't sound human.
Oh, I'm sure it's a human voice, technically. But it's been processed or mimicked. The way it stresses syllables or misplaces breath, it reminds me of speech synthesis, but not digital, like someone trying to remember how to be a person.
Someone trying to remember how to be a person. It's been echoing in my head for days. Because when I played the signal again at home through the same receiver I brought into the woods, it changed again, just like the old tapes. This time, the voice said my name.
Iris.
No one else was in the room. The receiver has no internet, no Bluetooth, no voice recognition. It's analog, a coil and a tuner. So how did it know my name? I went back to the WMER archives. Remember the unlabeled tapes I mentioned? I dug deeper. Most were blank or sounded like they had been overridden dozens of times, except one. A warp tape labeled simply D. Blackroot. Blackroot isn't a place, not on any official map, but I remember the name. Uncle Matt used to say, "Don't wander past Blackroot Creek after sundown." That's where the shadows hum. Here's what's on the tape.
Where do the sleepers go when they forget their names? Under the forest, under the frame.
They buried the transmitter beneath the pine, but it never stopped calling.
That line, "They buried the transmitter beneath the pine." I've heard it before. In one of Matt's old notebooks, scribbled across an old blueprint of the WMER tower, a hand-drawn X marks a point not on the tower, but beneath it. Tomorrow, I'm going back to the tower site. I'm bringing a shovel, the signal recorder, and Matt's reel-to-reel, because if there's something buried out there, I want to hear it for myself. Next week, I'll tell you what I find. And if I don't come back, well, don't follow the signal. It's already following you. The Hollow Signal is written and produced by me, Iris Vant, sound design by Theo Reeves, archival materials sourced from the Northwest Tape Preservation Collective. If you've received a transmission you can't explain, or you remember something that never happened, email hollow@irisvant.net. Until next time, stay tuned. The Hollow Signal. Episode 3 teaser. The transmitter below. Next time on The Hollow Signal, I return to the ruins of WMER Tower. What I find buried beneath the old foundation doesn't make sense. It's not in this world's terms. It's not just a transmitter. It's something older, handmade, wrong, and it's still warm.
It listened long before you were born.
I also uncover a second voice on the Blackroot tape, one that shouldn't be possible, because it belongs to someone who's been missing for 15 years, Uncle Matt. And then someone starts transmitting back. Episode 3, The Transmitter Below, coming this Friday.
They buried the transmitter beneath the pine, but it never stopped calling.